The emergency alarm screamed through the Galactic Council chambers on Velros Prime Ambassador Kevin Matthews jerked upright in his seat as red lights flooded the massive hall around him. Representatives from 40 different species erupted into panicked chatter. Council Speaker Tavras, a tall being with silver skin and 4 arms, raised his hands for silence. The Crethan Empire has broken through our defense lines, Tavros announced, his voice shaking. 3 member worlds have fallen in the past week. Kevin felt his stomach tighten. He had heard rumors about the Crethan, a brutal civilization that conquered and consumed entire planets. The Council had always dismissed such threats as minor problems. Now fear painted every alien face in the chamber. Our combined fleets cannot stop them, Tavros continued. They have technology we do not understand and numbers that overwhelm our forces. A reptilian counselor stood up, his scales rattling with anxiety. What about the defense packs? Where are the reinforcements? Tavros lowered his head. All our military allies are either destroyed or retreating. The Crethan move like a wildfire through the outer rim territories. Kevin watched as the mighty council, the same group that had spent decades treating humanity like primitive children, now fell apart in terror for 20 years. Earth had requested to join their defense agreements for 20 years. The Council had refused, calling humans too young and too aggressive now. Those same aliens were weeping in their seats. We must send a distress signal across all known space, insectoid delegates suggested, even to species we normally would not contact. Tavros nodded slowly. Agreed. Send it on all frequencies. Include the primitives as well. Kevin bristled at the word, but said nothing. The Council had made their views on humanity very clear over the years. Within minutes, the signal went out across the galaxy, a desperate plea for help from a council that had once thought itself invincible. Kevin immediately activated his quantum communicator. This is Ambassador Matthews to Earth Command. I need priority channel to Admiral Harris. The response came within seconds. Admiral Daniel Harris appeared on Kevin's private screen, his weathered face showing concern. Ambassador, we received a strange signal. Was that from the Council? Kevin nodded. The Crethan Empire is tearing through the outer rim. The Council's fleets are broken. They are begging for help from anyone who can hear them. Daniel's jaw tightened. The same Council that called us warlike savages 3 months ago? The same one that rejected our defense treaty? Kevin sighed. Yes, Admiral, the very same. There was a long pause. Kevin could see the conflict in Daniel's eyes. The Council had treated Earth with nothing but contempt. They had blocked human trade routes, denied Earth voting rights, and mocked human technology. Now they wanted humanity's help. How bad is it? Daniel asked finally. Kevin pulled up the data files. 17 worlds confirmed. Destroyed. Billions dead. The Crethan used some kind of plasma weapons that burn through shields like paper. 3 Council battle groups went to stop them, and all 3 were wiped out. Daniel studied the information, his expression growing darker. What are the Crethan after? Kevin shook his head. Everything. They do not negotiate. They do not take prisoners. They simply consume worlds and move to the next target. Their next target appears to be the Minari homeworld. Daniel's eyes widened. The Minari? The peaceful ones who sent Earth those art collections? Kevin nodded. 5 billion souls who have never fired a weapon in their entire history. They will be massacred. Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he straightened in his chair. Send a message to the Council. Tell them Earth is mobilizing our fleet. Kevin felt relief wash over him. Thank you, Admiral. I know they do not deserve this. Daniel's expression was firm. We are not doing this for the Council. Ambassador, we are doing this because innocent people need help. That is what humanity does. The connection ended, and Kevin turned back to the chaos of the council chamber. He walked to the central podium and activated the speakers. "Council members," he called out, his voice cutting through the noise. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to the human. "I have just spoken with Earth's military command." Tavros leaned forward. "And what did your primitives say, human?" Kevin ignored the insult. "Admiral Daniel Harris is mobilizing the Earth Defense Fleet. We will answer your distress call." Laughter erupted from several council members. A Phyline delegate wiped tears from her eyes. "The humans think they can help? With what, exactly?" "We have seen your ships, Ambassador. They are barely capable of interstellar travel." Kevin kept his face calm. "You will see what we bring." Another counselor, a being made of crystalline structures, shook with mirth. "How many ships can Earth possibly send? 5? 10? The Crethan will destroy them in minutes." Kevin smiled slightly. "We shall see." Tavros raised a hand for silence once more. "Ambassador Matthews, while we appreciate Earth's gesture, perhaps your people should focus on defending your own world. This threat is beyond your capabilities." Kevin looked directly at the council speaker with respect. "Speaker Tavros, you do not know our capabilities. You never bothered to learn. For 20 years, Earth requested information sharing and joint exercises. For 20 years, you refused. Now you will see what humanity has built while you ignored us." The council chamber buzzed with confused whispers back on Earth. Admiral Daniel Harris stood in the command center of the orbital defense station. Around him, dozens of officers worked at their stations with focused intensity. Status report. Daniel ordered Captain Nicole Bennett step forward. She commanded the ESS Valiant, Earth's newest and most powerful carrier ship. All battle groups are responding to the mobilization order. "Admiral, the first fleet will be ready to deploy within 12 hours. The second and third fleets within 24. Daniel nodded. "How many ships total?" Nicole checked her datapad. 347 warships, sir. That includes 15 carriers, 62 battleships, 90 destroyers, and the rest support vessels. Fighter complement is at full strength. We have over 2,000 strike craft ready for deployment." A young lieutenant approached nervously. "Admiral Harris, the council is trying to contact you directly." Daniel shook his head. "Tell them I am busy preparing our fleet. They can speak with Ambassador Matthews." Nicole moved closer, lowering her voice. "Sir, are we really going to help them after everything?" Daniel looked at her steadily. "Captain Bennett, what the council thinks of us does not matter. What matters is that billions of innocent lives are at risk. We have the power to help. So we will help. That is what separates us from empires like the Crethan." Nicole straightened and saluted. "Understood. Sir, the Valiant will be ready." Daniel turned to address the entire command center. "Listen up, everyone. We are about to show the galaxy what Earth is capable of. For decades, they have dismissed us, underestimated us, and treated us like children. We are not going out there for revenge or recognition. We are going because people need help and we can provide it. That is the human way." The officers responded with determined nods across Earth's orbital network. Massive shipyards burst into activity. Warships that had been built in secret over the past decade began their final preparations. Weapons were loaded, shields tested, and crews assembled. Earth had not been idle during its time as a galactic outsider. Humanity had built an armada. And now, for the first time, the galaxy would see what Earth had created in the Galactic Council chambers. Kevin Matthews watched the confusion and doubt on alien faces. They had no idea what was coming. They still saw humanity as primitives playing at space travel. That perception was about to shatter. Kevin thought of Admiral Harris and the fleet assembling above Earth. He thought of all the DOs, young men and women preparing to risk their lives for Aliens who had scorned them humanity was about to change the galaxy forever, not through conquest or demands, but through the simple act of answering a call for help when others needed it most. Crethan Empire had terrorized the galaxy. They had crushed armies and burned worlds, but they had never faced humanity, and they had no idea what was about to hit them. The Earth orbital shipyard stretched for thousands of kilometers above the planet. Admiral Daniel Harris stood on the bridge of the ESS Valiant and watched the assembly with pride. Warships emerged from their hidden docks like sleeping giants. Awakening Captain Nicole Bennett stood beside him, her eyes wide despite having seen the intelligence reports. I knew we had a large fleet, but seeing it all together is something else, she said quietly. Daniel nodded. The massive dreadnought S Defiance led the formation, its hull bristling with weapons. Behind it came row after row of battleships, their armor plating gleaming in the starlight. Carriers like the Valiant held position as hundreds of smaller destroyers and frigates took their places. The Council has no idea, Nicole continued. They think we are sending a token force. Daniel allowed himself a small smile. Let them think that surprise will be educational. Lieutenant Amy Richardson approached from the communications station. Admiral, we are receiving multiple hails from Galactic Council observation posts. They are demanding to know why we have so many ships mobilizing. Daniel's smile widened. Tell them we are responding to their distress call. Nothing more. Amy hesitated. Sir, they are getting quite agitated, one observer said, and I quote, "This is impossible for such a primitive species." Nicole laughed. Primitive? We've been building this fleet for 15 years, while they sat in their council chambers feeling superior. Daniel turned to face his bridge crew. All hands, prepare for a fleet-wide announcement. The crew snapped to attention as the communication channels opened to every ship. This is Admiral Daniel Harris to all vessels of the Earth Defense Fleet. In a few hours, we will make the jump to assist the Galactic Council against the Crethan Empire. I want every person listening to understand something important. The Council has treated humanity with contempt since we reached the stars. They have denied our requests for alliance, mocked our technology, and called us warlike primitives. Now they beg for our help. Some of you may wonder why we should risk our lives for those who scorned us. The answer is simple. We are not doing this for the Council. We are doing this for the billions of innocent beings who will die if we do not act. That is what makes us human. We help those who need it, regardless of how they have treated us. Today, the galaxy will see what Earth is truly capable of. Make me proud. Across the fleet, 347 ships acknowledged the message in the fighter bays of the carriers. Commander Ryan Cooper checked his flight suit one final time around him. 2,000 pilots prepared their strike craft. Ryan had been flying for 12 years. But this would be his first real combat mission. All right, people, he called out to his squadron. We have trained for this. The Crethan have superior numbers, but they have never faced human fighter tactics. We are faster, more maneuverable, and we have better pilots. A young pilot named Jacob raised his hand. Commander, is it true the Crethan have destroyed 3 entire Council fleets? Ryan nodded. Yes, but those fleets fought using outdated tactics. They formed rigid battle lines and got slaughtered. We do not fight that way. We swarm. We adapt, and we win. The pilots cheered, their nervousness transforming into determination deep in the engineering sections of the Valiant. Chief Engineer Brandon Cole supervised the final power system checks. His team had worked around the clock to ensure every ship was at peak performance. Status on the quantum drives? Brandon asked his second-in-command. All green. Chief, we can maintain maximum FTL speed for 72 hours without stopping. Brandon nodded with satisfaction. And the weapon systems? Plasma cannons charged to full capacity. Railguns loaded. Missile tubes ready. We have enough ammunition to fight for weeks. Brandon allowed himself a moment of pride. Earth's technology had progressed far beyond what the Council suspected, while the aliens had shared nothing. Humanity had developed its own innovations. The quantum drives were twice as fast as Council FTL systems. Plasma weapons hit harder and recycled faster. Shields could withstand punishment that would shred alien warships. Earth had built a war machine in secret, and now it was time to unleash it on the bridge. Daniel watched the final ships take their positions. Captain Bennett? Status report. Nicole consulted her displays. All vessels report ready for departure. Admiral, fighter wings are at full strength. Marine? Contingents are loaded and prepared. We are ready to jump on your command. Daniel took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity's debut on the galactic military stage. Send a message to Ambassador Matthews. Tell him the fleet is departing now. We will reach the Minari system in 36 hours. Back in the council chambers, Kevin Matthews received the message and stood. The council was in another heated debate about whether to abandon the Minari to their fate. Council members, Kevin called out. Interrupting a particularly cowardly speech, Tavros glared at him. What is it, Ambassador? We are discussing important matters. Kevin smiled. I thought you might want to know that. The Earth fleet has just departed. They will reach the Minari system in 36 hours. The feline delegate who had mocked Earth earlier laughed. How noble of them to send their little fleet to be destroyed. Kevin pulled up a holographic display above the council floor. The image showed the Earth fleet in formation 347 ships spread across space in perfect military precision. The laughter died instantly. Taurus stood up so fast he nearly fell over. That cannot be real. There must be an error in the transmission. Kevin shook his head. No error. Speaker, that is the Earth Defense Fleet. Or rather, that is the First Fleet. The second and third fleets are still assembling. The council chamber exploded into chaos. Impossible. Someone shouted. Earth barely has warp technology. Another cried. The crystalline counselor, who had mocked humanity earlier, approached the hologram with shaking limbs. These ships are enormous. That lead vessel is twice the size of our largest dreadnought. Kevin nodded. The ESS Defiance, 1,500 meters long, crew of 3,000, armed with enough firepower to level a continent. Taro stared at the image. How? When did you build this? Kevin's expression hardened. While you were busy dismissing us as primitives, we were building our defense. You refused to share technology, so we developed our own. You denied us alliance, so we became self-sufficient. You called us warlike. And perhaps you were right, but now you need warriors. And we are coming. A mammalian delegate stumbled forward. Ambassador Matthews, please accept our apologies for our previous treatment. We did not understand. Kevin cut him off. Save your apologies. Admiral Harris is not coming for your gratitude. He's coming to save innocent lives. What you think of humanity is irrelevant to him. The council fell silent as the reality sank in the species they had scorned for decades was now their only hope aboard the Valiant. The jump to FTL was smooth and precise. The fleet moved as one, their formation never wavering. Daniel watched the stars stretch into lines as they accelerated beyond light speed. Admiral, Amy said from communications, we are receiving a transmission from the Minari homeworld. Put it through. The image of Elder Sarath appeared on the main screen. The Minari looked like tall, slender beings with luminous skin and large, gentle eyes. Sarath's face showed deep sadness. Human Admiral, I am Elder Sereth of the Minari people. We received word that your fleet is coming to help us. Daniel nodded. That is correct. Elder, we will be there soon. Sarath's eyes filled with tears. We have heard the reports of your fleet's size. Why would you risk so much for us? We are not warriors. We have nothing to offer Earth in return. Daniel's expression softened. Elder Sereth, humanity does not help others for profit. We help because it is right. Your people are peaceful and innocent. That is reason enough. Sereth bowed deeply. The Minari will remember this. Admiral, whatever happens, we will remember that when the galaxy abandoned us, humanity came. The transmission ended and Daniel turned to Nicole. Captain, increase speed to maximum. I want to get there faster. Nicole smiled. Yes. Sir. The fleet surged forward, pushing their quantum drives to the limit behind them. The galaxy watched in stunned disbelief in the Outer Rim territories. The Cretan Empire continued its advance, their commander, a massive being named Varkos, received reports of the approaching human fleet. He laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Humans? I have never heard of this species. His tactical officer displayed the scout data. They appear to be a young race. From a system called Sol. Their fleet is large, but they have no combat experience. Varkos waved a clawed hand dismissively. Then they will die like all the others. The Minari world will fall, and these humans will learn to fear the Cretan Empire. But deep in Varkos's command ship, a junior analyst studied the human fleet with growing concern. Ships moved with precision that spoke of extensive training. Their technology appeared advanced, possibly more advanced than Cretan designs. The analyst prepared a warning report, but it was dismissed by his superiors. The Cretan Empire had conquered 50 worlds. What threat could one unknown species possibly pose? They were about to find out. The human fleet raced through the stars, carrying with it the hopes of an entire galaxy and the promise that humanity, dismissed and underestimated for so long, was about to change everything. The Minari homeworld hung in space like a jewel. Its surface covered in vast gardens and artistic monuments. Elder Sereth stood in the capital city's main plaza, watching the sky with resignation around him. Millions of Minari rushed to evacuation centers. Their peaceful civilization had never known war. No war had come to them. Elder, the Cretan fleet has entered our system, a young aide reported. Her voice trembling. Zereth nodded slowly. How long until they reach us? 3 hours. Perhaps less. They are moving very fast. Sereth looked at the frightened faces of his people. Children clung to their parents. Artists abandoned their works. Musicians left there. Instruments behind 5 billion souls who had spent their existence creating beauty now faced extermination. Continue the evacuations. Sereth ordered. Get as many into the shelters as possible. Even as he spoke, he knew the shelters would not save them. The Cretan did not leave survivors in orbit above the planet. The Cretan invasion fleet dropped out of FTL TW-100 warships, each one bristling with weapons designed to burn worlds. Commander Varkos stood on his command bridge, pleased with the sight below. Another easy conquest. He rumbled. Begin the planetary bombardment. His weapons officer prepared to fire when alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Commander, multiple FTL signatures detected at the system's edge. Varkos turned. The council sent reinforcements? How amusing. They will die just like the others. The tactical display updated and Varkos's confidence faltered. 347 ships emerged from FTL in perfect formation. They were unlike anything in the Cretan database. What species is this? Varkos demanded. Unknown. Commander, they are broadcasting a message on all frequencies. Put it through. Admiral Daniel Harris's voice filled the Cretan bridge. Crethan forces. This is Admiral Daniel Harris of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are ordered to cease hostile action and withdraw from this system immediately. This is your only warning, Varkos laughed, though it sounded less confident than before. Who are these humans to give orders to the Crethan Empire? Commander, their lead ships are massive, the tactical officer reported, nervously, and their weapon signatures are reading higher than our own. Varkos slammed his fist on the console. I do not care how big their ships are. We outnumber them, and we have never been defeated. All vessels. Attack formation. Destroy the human fleet. The Crethan ships turned to face the approaching Earth forces aboard the Valiant. Captain Nicole Bed watched the enemy fleet with cold calculation. Admiral, the Crethan are forming a frontal assault line. Daniel nodded. Just as predicted. They rely on overwhelming firepower and intimidation. They have never faced adaptive tactics. Order the fleet to execute Formation Delta. Nicole relayed the commands instantly. The human fleet split into multiple attack groups. The destroyers formed the vanguard, their smaller size making them harder to target. The battleships took flanking positions. The carriers held back, launching wave after wave of fighters. Commander Ryan Cooper led his fighter squadron toward the Crethan line. All wings. This is Cooper. Engage at will. Target their weapons arrays and engine clusters. 2,000 strike craft streaked forward like a swarm of angry hornets. The Crethan fleet opened fire, their plasma weapons creating a wall of deadly energy. But the human fighters danced through the barrage with impossible precision. Their pilots had trained for years in simulation. Now that training paid off. Target locked. Ryan called out, firing missiles. His fighters' weapons blazed. Missiles streaked toward a Crethan cruiser, slamming into its shield generators. The shields flickered and died. Other fighters followed up, their railguns punching through the now exposed hull. The cruiser exploded in a brilliant flash on the Minari surface. Elder Sareth watched the battle through long-range sensors. They are fighting, he whispered in awe. The humans are actually fighting the Crethan. His aide pointed at the display. Elder, look at the tactics. I have never seen anything like this. The human fleet moved like a living organism. When the Crethan focused on one group, another would strike from a different angle. When Crethan ships tried to pursue, they found themselves surrounded. Captain Lisa Garrett commanded a squadron of destroyers on the human fleet's right flank. All ships, concentrate fire on those battleships. Her destroyers unleashed a devastating barrage. Plasma cannons tore into Crethan armor. Railguns fired depleted uranium rounds at a fraction of light speed. The Crethan battleships, designed to fight opponents who used outdated tactics, found themselves outmatched one by one. They began to fall. Varkos watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. How is this possible? He roared. They are just one species. We are the Crethan Empire. His tactical officer's voice shook. Commander, we have lost 40 ships. Their weapons are more powerful than ours. Their shields regenerate faster, and their fighters are everywhere. Varkos snarled. All ships, focus fire on their flagship. Kill their admiral, and they will break. The Crethan fleet concentrated its remaining firepower on the Facebusta. Valiant hundreds of plasma bolts converged on the massive carrier, but Nicole had anticipated this. Evasive maneuvers. Divert. Power to forward shields. The Valiant twisted through space with grace that belied its size. Its shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the incoming Fire Chief Engineer Brandon. Cole's voice came through the intercom, shields holding at 70%. Captain, we can take a lot more punishment than this. Nicole smiled. Good, because we are about to give them something to really worry about. Main batteries. Fire. The Valiant's primary weapons unleashed hellplasma. Cannons designed to crack planets lit up the void. Each shot vaporized a Crethan ship. Completely, the enemy fleet recoiled from the devastation. Daniel watched the battle unfold with satisfaction. The Crethan were skilled fighters, but they relied on brute force and fear. They had never encountered an opponent who was both stronger and smarter. Admiral, the Crethan are starting to break formation, Nicole reported. Several ships are attempting to retreat. Daniel's expression hardened. Negative. They came here to massacre innocent civilians. They do not get to just leave. All ships pursue and destroy any vessel attempting to flee, but broadcast surrender terms. Any Crethan ship that powers down weapons and shields will be spared. Amy opened the communication channels. Attention, Crethan forces. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to human standards of war. Continue fighting, and you will be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to decide on the Crethan flagship. Varkus's officers looked at him with pleading eyes. They had never surrendered to anyone, but they had also never been so thoroughly beaten. Commander, we have lost over half our fleet, the tactical officer said quietly. If we continue, we will all die. Varkos wanted to order them to fight to the last ship. His pride demanded it, but as he watched another 3 Crethan vessels explode under human fire, reality set in the Crethan Empire had finally met its match. Power down weapons, Varkos said, the words bitter in his mouth. Signal surrender. Across the Crethan fleet, ships began lowering their shields. The Pajim, lowering their ships, began lowering their shields. Human assault ceased immediately. Daniel opened a channel to the Crethan flagship. Crethan Commander, this is Admiral Harris. Prepare to be boarded. Your crew will be treated humanely, but you will be held accountable for your crimes. Varkos appeared on the screen, his face twisted with rage and shame. You have won this battle, human, but the Crethan Empire is vast. More fleets will come. Daniel's expression was calm but firm. Then we will defeat them too. Your empire's days of terror are over. Humanity will not allow you to harm innocent beings ever again. The transmission cut off on the Minari surface. Elder Sareth fell to his knees. Around him, millions of Minari emerged from their shelters. The Savio battle that should have ended in their extinction had lasted less than 2 hours, and the humans had won. They saved us. Sarath's aide whispered. The species the council called primitive just defeated the Crethan Empire. Sareth rose and looked up at the stars where the human fleet now held position. Contact the human. Admiral, I must speak with him. Daniel accepted the call from the planet. Elder Sarath's face appeared, tears streaming down his luminous cheeks. Admiral Harris, the Minari people owe you a debt we can never repay. Daniel shook his head. You owe us nothing. Elder, we came because it was right, not for payment. How are your people? Sareth smiled through his tears. Alive, thanks to you. Please, allow us to host your cruise on our surface. Let us show our gratitude. Daniel considered for a moment. We would be honored. Elder, but first, we must secure the captured Crethan vessels and tend to any wounded. As the human marines boarded the Crethan ships, news of the battle spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council sat in stunned silence as they watched the combat footage. Edivros replayed the battle 3 times. Unable to believe what he was seeing, they destroyed a Crethan invasion fleet, he said quietly. In less than 2 hours, the feline delegate who had mocked Earth sat with her head in her hands. We have been such fools. Kevin Matthews stood before the council with his arms crossed. Do you understand now? Do you see what humanity is capable of? Tyros nodded slowly. Yes, Ambassador. We see, and we are ashamed. of how we treated your people. Kevin's expression softened slightly. Then perhaps some good can come from this. Admiral Harris believes the Crethan threat can be eliminated entirely, but he will need the Council's cooperation. Tavros stood and bowed deeply. Earth will have whatever cooperation we can provide. This I swear. News of humanity's victory at the Minari homeworld spread through the galaxy like wildfire within days. Dozens of species that had been conquered by the Crethan Empire sent desperate pleas to Earth. Admiral Daniel Harris stood in the war room aboard the Valiant, studying a holographic map of the occupied territories. Captain Knuckle Bennett pointed to several systems highlighted in red. These 17 worlds are still under Crethan control. Admiral, the populations are being used as forced labor or worse. Daniel's jaw tightened. How many beings are we talking about? Approximately 40 billion across all occupied worlds. The number hit Daniel like a physical blow. 40 billion souls suffering under Crethan tyranny. We cannot liberate them all at once. Nicole continued. Our fleet is powerful, but spreading it too thin would be dangerous. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. Then we need to be strategic. Which worlds have the largest populations? Nicole highlighted 3 systems. These 3 account for 25 billion of the total. But Admiral, there is a problem. She pulled up new intelligence data. Our reconnaissance shows the Crethan have fortified these worlds heavily. They know we are coming. Commander Eric Davis, the fleet's intelligence officer, entered the war room. He was a thin man with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Admiral, I have been analyzing Crethan communication patterns. I believe I have located their central command. Fleet. Daniel turned to him with interest. Show. Mirik expanded the hologram to show a distant star system. The Crethan Empire operates from a mobile command station. Right now it is here. In the Varos system, if we can strike there, we could cripple their ability to coordinate defenses across all occupied worlds. Nicole frowned. That is deep in Crethan space. We would be surrounded by enemy forces. Daniel studied the map in silence. A bold strike at the enemy's heart could win the war quickly, but it was also incredibly risky. Admiral. Amy's voice came through the intercom. You have an incoming transmission from Earth. It is Admiral Stephen Walsh. Daniel activated the communication screen. Admiral Walsh appeared. A broad-shouldered man with a friendly face. Daniel. Good to see you in one piece. Daniel smiled. Stephen, your timing is perfect. Please, tell me you have good news. Walsh grinned. The second battle group is fully deployed and heading your way. 120 ships with full combat readiness. We will reach your position in 4 days. Daniel felt relief. Wash over him with reinforcements? His options expanded dramatically. What about the third battle group? Another week behind us. But Daniel, I have even better news. The Council has agreed to contribute their remaining forces to a joint command. You will have operational authority over 60 Council warships. Daniel raised his eyebrows. They are actually willing to follow human leadership? Walsh laughed. After watching you demolish the Crethan fleet at Minari, they would follow you into a black hole. The Council is desperate, and they finally understand what Earth brings to the table. After the transmission ended, Daniel turned to his staff. All right. Here is what we are going to do. We split our forces into 3 task groups. Captain Lisa Garrett will lead Task Force Alpha to liberate the nearest occupied worlds. Captain Bennett, you and the Valiant will command Task Force Bravo. You will hit the mid-range targets. I will take Task Force Charlie deep into Crethan space when Admiral Walsh arrives. We are going after their command fleet. Nicole looked concerned. Sir, that is extremely dangerous. Daniel nodded. Which is exactly why they will not expect it. The Crethan think defensively now. They will concentrate forces around They're conquered worlds. They will not anticipate an assault on their leadership. Eric smiled. It is a brilliant strategy. Admiral, cut off the head and the body dies. Over the next 3 days, the human fleet reorganized and prepared. Captain Garrett's Task Force Alpha consisted of 40 destroyers and 20 support ships, fast, maneuverable, and perfect for hit-and-run liberation operations on the bridge of her flagship destroyer, the S-Phoenix. Lisa reviewed the mission parameters. Our first target is the Telvin system. She told her crew. Population of 3 billion currently enslaved in mining. Operations. Intelligence shows a Crethan occupation force of 15 ships. Her tactical officer looked nervous. Captain, that is nearly half our number. Lisa smiled confidently. We have surprise, superior technology, and righteous anger on our side. The Crethan are about to learn that occupying a world and defending it against humans are very different things. Task Force Alpha jumped to FTL and vanished into the stars. Meanwhile, Dr. Michelle Parker arrived with a fleet of hospital ships. She was a composed woman with gentle hands and an iron will. Admiral Harris, she said as she came aboard the Valiant, I am here to establish field hospitals on liberated worlds. Daniel shook her hand gratefully. Dr. Parker, your work will be crucial. The Crethan have left these populations in terrible condition. Michelle nodded grimly. I have seen the reports. Starvation, disease, and trauma. But we brought supplies for millions and medical staff trained in alien biology. No being will suffer needlessly on my watch. As the human fleet divided and began its campaign, the galaxy watched in amazement. Galactic Council established a joint operations center on Velros Prime Ambassador. Kevin Matthews worked alongside council members who had once scorned him. Tavros approached Kevin with genuine humility. Ambassador, I want to formally apologize for the council's treatment of humanity. We were arrogant and blind. Kevin looked at him steadily. Speaker Tavros, actions matter more than apologies. Show Earth that you have learned by treating all species with the respect they deserve. Tavros bowed. We will. Ambassador, the Council is drafting a new charter. All species will have equal voice, including Earth. We are calling it the Galactic Coalition. Kevin allowed himself a small smile. That is a good start. Light years away. Captain Garrett's task force dropped out of FTL at the Telvin system. The Crethan occupation fleet detected them immediately. Human ships incoming. A Crethan commander shouted, "Battle stations!" But before the Crethan could react, Lisa's destroyers were already among them. All ships, execute Maneuver Omega, Lisa ordered calmly. The human destroyers scattered in all directions, then converged on individual Crethan vessels from multiple angles. The Crethan formation, designed for large-scale fleet battles, collapsed under the unconventional assault within 30 minutes. 10 Crethan ships were destroyed. Remaining 5 attempted to flee, but were run down and forced to surrender on the Telvin surface. The enslaved population watched in disbelief as human Marines landed. General Jason Turner led the ground forces personally. He was a massive man who looked like he could break a Crethan in half, but his eyes showed surprising gentleness as he approached the frightened Telvin workers. You are free, Jason announced through a translator. The Crethan occupation is over. We are here to help you. A Telvin elder stepped forward cautiously. Who are you? We are human, Jason replied, from a world called Earth. And we do not allow bullies to hurt innocent people. Dr. Parker's medical teams immediately began treating the injured and sick. The Telvin people, who had known only cruelty for months, wept at the kindness shown by these strange aliens. Similar scenes played out across multiple systems as Task Force Alpha liberated world after world. Captain Bennett's Task Force Bravo engaged larger Crethan forces with equal success. The human battle groups moved like precision instruments. Each strike calculated for maximum effect after a week of continuous operations. The liberated populations began to number in the billions. The Krethan Empire, which had seemed invincible, was crumbling on the Krethan Mobile Command Station. Emperor Varkos raged at his generals. "How is this possible?" he roared. "One species is destroying everything we built." A senior military advisor spoke carefully. "Your Majesty, the humans fight unlike anything we have encountered. Their technology is superior. Their tactics are innovative, and they show no fear." Varkos slammed his fist on the table. "Then we must destroy their homeworld. Send a strike fleet to this Earth. Burn it to ashes." The advisor paled. "Your Majesty, we have tried to locate their homeworld, but they have hidden its coordinates, and even if we found it, they would anticipate the attack. We would be walking into a trap." Varkos realized with growing horror that the Krethan Empire was facing its first true defeat for centuries. They had conquered without serious opposition. Now they were being systematically dismantled by a species they had never heard of until 2 weeks ago. "Recall all forces to the core systems," Varkos ordered. "We will make our stand there." But even as he gave the order, he knew it was already too late. Admiral Walsh's second battle group arrived and linked up with Admiral Harris together. They commanded a force of over 200 warships. Daniel stood on the bridge of the Valiant, flanked by Walsh and Nicole. "The Krethan command fleet is in the Voros system," Daniel said. "Intelligence shows approximately 150 enemy ships. They are dug in and ready for us," Walsh whistled low. "Those are tough odds." Daniel smiled. "Stephen, when have humans ever backed down from tough odds?" Nicole pulled up the tactical plan. "We will approach from 3 vectors simultaneously. The Krethan will expect a frontal assault. Instead, we will hit them from above, below, and behind all at once." Commander Ryan Cooper, who had been awarded a medal for his actions at Minari, prepared his fighter wings. "This is the big one. People," he told his pilots, "we are taking down the Krethan leadership." The Voros system hung in space like a fortress at its center. The Krethan Mobile Command Station dominated the view, a massive structure the size of a small moon. Bristling with weapons and surrounded by 150 warships, Emperor Varkos stood in the command center, watching his defense forces take position. "Let the humans come," he growled. "Here they will finally meet their doom." His senior general pointed at the tactical display. "Your Majesty, our scouts report the human fleet approaching from multiple vectors. They are attempting a coordinated assault." Varkos sneered. "Predictable. All ships, prepare to repel the attackers. Show these primitives what happens when they challenge." The Krethan Empire. The Krethan fleet formed a defensive sphere around the command station. Shields went to maximum power, weapons charged to full capacity. They were ready, or so they thought. Admiral Daniel Harris stood on the bridge of the Valiant, studying the enemy formation beside him. Admiral Stephen Walsh and Captain Nicole Bennett waited for orders. "They have concentrated everything around that station," Walsh observed. "Breaking through that defense will cost us." Daniel nodded slowly. "Which is why we are not going to break through." He activated the fleet-wide communication. "All ships, this is Admiral Harris. Before we engage, I am offering Emperor Varkos one final chance to surrender." Nicole looked surprised. "Sir, you know he will refuse." Daniel smiled slightly. "I know, but when this is over, I want the galaxy to remember that we offered mercy first." Amy opened a channel to the Krethan command station. Varkos' face appeared on the screen, twisted with rage. "Surrender? You dare suggest I surrender? I am Emperor of the Krethan, conqueror of 50 worlds." Daniel's expression remained calm. "Emperor Varkos, your empire has fallen. Over 30 worlds have been liberated by our forces. Your fleets are scattered and broken. End this now and spare your people further bloodshed." Varkos laughed. A harsh and bitter sound. "I would rather die than bow to a species like yours. You are nothing but lucky savages who got a few fortunate victories. Here, in the heart of Crethan power, you will learn your place." Daniel sighed. "So be it. All ships, execute Operation Hammer." The transmission cut off. Human fleet suddenly split into 6 separate groups. Instead of attacking the defensive sphere head-on, they began moving in complex patterns. Varkos with confusion. What are they doing? His tactical officers studied the movements. "I do not understand." "Your Majesty, they are not approaching the station." Then the first group of human ships opened fire not at the Crethan fleet and empty space massive plasma bolts streaked towards seemingly random points in the void. "They have gone mad." Varkos laughed. "They are shooting at nothing." But his laughter died as the tactical officer's face went pale. "Your Majesty, those are not random shots. They are creating a gravity disruption field. The humans are using their weapons to destabilize local space." Before Varkos could respond, the carefully calculated plasma bursts created a series of gravitational anomalies. The Crethan defensive sphere, perfectly positioned moments before, suddenly found itself pulled out of formation. Ships drifted away from their assigned positions as space itself warped around them. "Brilliant," Walsh whispered aboard the Valiant. "They cannot defend a position if the position keeps moving." Daniel nodded. "Now we attack. All fighters, launch." Commander Ryan Cooper led 2,000 strike craft into the chaos. The Crethan fleet, already struggling with the gravity disruptions, could not form effective firing solutions. Ryan's pilots exploited every opening. Gold Squadron, hit those battleships on the left flank. Silver Squadron, target the carrier group. Red Squadron, follow me. We are going for the command station's shield. Generators. The human fighters swarmed through the Crethan formation like angry wasps. Missiles streaked through the void. Rail guns fired in perfect synchronization. Kren ships, designed to fight in organized battle lines, found themselves isolated and overwhelmed one by one. They began to fall. Captain Lisa Garrett's destroyer squadron pushed through a gap in the Crethan defense. "All ships, concentrate fire on those cruisers." The destroyers unleashed devastating broadsides. 3 Crethan cruisers exploded within minutes. The Valiant and the other human capital ships moved forward, their massive weapons tearing through enemy shields. Nicole coordinated the carrier's offensive with practiced efficiency. Launch Wave 2. "I want constant fighter pressure on their defenses." Chief Engineer Brandon Cole's voice came through. "Captain, the Crethan are trying to overload their weapons for a desperate strike. Can we stop it?" Nicole asked. Brandon smiled. "Already on it. Targeting their power generators now." The Valiant's precision weapons struck deep into a Crethan dreadnought. The enemy ship's power core destabilized, and it went dark, drifting helplessly aboard the command station. Varkos watched his fleet disintegrate. "This cannot be happening," he muttered. "We are the Crethan. We are invincible." His general spoke urgently. "Your Majesty, we have lost over half our ships. We must evacuate." Varkos rounded on him. "Never. I will not flee like a coward. Activate the station's planetary destruction weapon. If we are to fall, we will take the humans with us." The general hesitated. "Your Majesty, that weapon has not been tested. It could destroy the station itself." Varkos's eyes blazed with mad fury. "Do it." Aboard the Valiant, sensors detected the massive energy buildup. "Admiral, the command station is charging some kind of super weapon," Amy reported urgently. Daniel's expression hardened. "Target that station with everything we have. All ships, focus fire on those weapon emplacements." The human fleet turned its full fury on the command station. Hundreds of plasma bolts and thousands of missiles converged on the massive structure its shields held for a few seconds. Then they shattered the superweapon. Unstable and barely functional, took a direct hit from the Valiant's main batteries. The resulting explosion tore through the command station's core of Arcos had one final moment to realize. His pride had destroyed him. Then the station erupted in a massive fireball visible across the system. The remaining Crethan ships, seeing their Emperor and command structure annihilated, lost all will to fight one by one. They powered down their weapons. General Jason Turner's Marines boarded the surrendering vessels. They found Crethan crews in shock, unable to process their total defeat on one captured battleship. Jason confronted a Crethan officer. "Your Emperor chose death over peace." Jason said through the translator, "You do not have to make the same choice." The Crethan officer looked at the towering human. "What will you do with us?" Jason's expression softened. "We will treat you fairly. You will be held accountable for war crimes, but you will not be executed or tortured. That is not how humans wage war." The Crethan officers sagged with relief. They had expected the same brutality they had inflicted on others. Instead, they found mercy. News of the final battle spread across the galaxy within hours. The Crethan Empire, which had terrorized civilizations for generations, was finished in the Galactic Council chambers. Tavros stood before the assembled delegates. "The war is over," he announced. "Humanity has achieved what we thought impossible. They have defeated the Crethan Empire completely." The chamber erupted in cheers. Ambassador Kevin Matthews sat quietly, watching the celebration with mixed feelings. Yes, humanity had won, but the cost had been measured in lives. Even Crethan lives held value. Tavros approached Kevin. "Ambassador Matthews, the Council would like to formally invite Earth to become a founding member of the new Galactic Coalition, not as junior partners, but as equals, as leaders." Kevin stood and extended his hand. "Earth accepts." Speaker Tavros, "But we have conditions." Tavros nodded. "Name them." Kevin's expression was firm. "Every species in this coalition must be treated with equal respect. No more dismissing younger civilizations. No more arrogance. We build a true alliance or we build nothing." Tavros smiled. "Agreed. The age of the old Council's superiority is over. Humanity has shown us a better way in the liberated territories." Dr. Michelle Parker and her medical teams worked tirelessly. Billions of beings who had suffered under Crethan occupation now received care and compassion on the Talvan homeworld. A child approached Michelle as she treated patients. "Are you an angel?" the child asked in broken Galactic. Michelle knelt down with a gentle smile. "No, sweetheart, I am just a human who wants to help." The child hugged her tightly. "Thank you for saving us across dozens of worlds." Similar scenes played out. Humans helping aliens rebuild humans, sharing technology and resources. Humans proving that strength and kindness could coexist. Admiral Harris stood on the bridge of the Valiant as it began the journey home to Earth. The war had been won in 3 weeks, 3 weeks that changed the galaxy. Forever. Nicole approached him. "Admiral, we are receiving thousands of messages from across the galaxy. Species we have never heard of are thanking Earth. Some are asking to join the coalition. Others are offering trade agreements and cultural exchanges." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. "We did not fight for glory or profit, but I suppose recognition has its uses. What matters is that the killing has stopped." Nicole smiled. "Sir, there is one message you should hear personally." She played a recording from Elder Sarah. The Minari leader's voice was warm and grateful. "Admiral Harris, the Minari people have decided to create a permanent memorial to humanity's courage. We call it the Garden of Light. It will stand for 10,000 years as a reminder that when darkness threatened, Earth brought hope." Daniel felt emotion tighten his throat.